Okay, I'm on the Canton bathroom. This is a pretty small bathroom. It's maybe about 10 foot deep by about 5 foot wide, and then a little 3 foot by 5 foot shower inside of here. I'm not doing anything with the rest of the bathroom. Cabinetry and countertop is good. They want to stay with this floor tile. So what I'm basically doing is just rebuilding this shower. I believe this shower was a tub conversion at one time, so they took out the tub that was here and built a shower, which I do a lot of. And I say that because the drain is not center. This is basically where the drain was for the tub. Maybe it was over here and they were able to bump it out a little bit, but that's basically the setup. And they put in, you know, a shower fixture and this little 6x6 tile. It's porcelain tile, but it's very, very busy. It's a lot of 6x6 all the way to the ceiling. And they put in a little 2x2 for the floor tile, and then a nice set of shower doors. So at first glance it looks like it's, you know, pretty nice, and it's what it was from a tub to now a shower, which again I do a lot of, should be working. So a few years later we have some problems, and I don't know where the problems emanated from. Part of what I'm doing on the tear out is finding out why there's a lot of water leakage coming out of the shower. I can probably take a few guesses and say that this, well, it's not a guess, but this curb isn't sloped. So all these 6x6 tile, which I would have never done, they were using 12x12 tile, so why not have 4.5 or 5 of these going across the top instead of using 6x6? It causes a lot of grout lines. The less grout lines you have on the top of the curb, the better. But in addition to that, they didn't slope it at all, so the water is going to just sit up on the top of the curb, whether it's outside or inside. I don't know if water ever managed to get through the shower door, but if it does, then it could just easily just leak out and cause all this damage that you're seeing. There could also be some issues back here because I'm seeing a few cracks in the grout. This grout line is very, very thick, and I don't know the curb makeup. I don't know how well either they wrapped the curb, if they did at all, or even if they sealed it, you know, waterproofed it at all. And then there's a lot of mold and mildew going on the inside of the curb itself, and that causes me concern because the mold and mildew is growing from somewhere. So the inside of the curb to the outside is where the mold and mildew would naturally want to go. There's a lot of pooling. The shower hasn't been used recently, but yet there's a lot of stagnant water sitting here. So the tile wasn't sloped very well. And there's just a lot of smaller issues going on that are not huge, but they would cause me concern anyway. You can tell they did the wall tile first, and then they put the floor tile. So they cut the floor tile, and they didn't even cut it well. Like, look at this huge grout line. My finger can almost take up the whole grout line. That's probably 1/2 inch, if not 3/4 of an inch grout line going on here. That is idiotic. I mean, the floor tile should have gone first, and then the wall tile set on top of it. But at the very least, even if you're going to do it back assward, why would you cut these tile here and then leave yourself a huge grout line? Grout's very porous, the tile is not. So you have all this porosity with it's got a little indentation there, so water is going to sit stagnant on top of that grout line, get through into the shower pan, and then saturate the shower pan, which begets mold and mildew when the pan gets wet. I don't know what happened here. The drain tile wasn't cut nicely. The big bump here, you can't see it, but the drain tile wasn't cut nicely around the drain cap. And not only that, but it sets above the tile. The drain cap sets above the tile. So water is just going to stay stagnant over here and down here. In fact, this drain cap, you can't see it, but it's sloped also, so it's higher over here than it is here. And then the tile is higher than the lowest spot of the drain cap. It's just, you know, it's amateur type of work. Anyway, I'll see more when I take all this out, and I will definitely be showing any type of stupidity and or damage, which sometimes is one of the same. Shower doors will stay, so I'm going to take out these rails and the doors and set them aside for the time being. Shower fixture will stay because it's relatively new, no point in changing it out, and if I can, I'll save the soap dish as well. What will go here is the same color type of family porcelain, tan porcelain. I believe it's a 10 by 12 that will go horizontal, I believe, and it will go staggered. And around here is where I'll put the niche, about 30 inches long by about 12 inches tall, and I will frame that out with the bullnose that the customer will buy. Same basically idea here. Bullnose will go all the way up to the ceiling and go all the way up to the ceiling on that side. There will be one contiguous curb top, the pieces of marble that I like that will match the tile, and then I'll put the shower doors back at the end of the job. So this is day one. This is about 5 to 6 days, probably closer to 6. Customer doesn't have a tile right now, won't have it till Friday, and this is Monday, so this job could take a little longer because of waiting time, but other than that, this is typically about a 5 to 6 day job. So I'm going to get started. Okay, I'm only a few minutes in to doing this tear out, and you can tell they used the shower pan to wrap around the curb. I'm assuming there's 2x4s under there, haven't taken it out yet, and I'm also assuming there's probably a good part of wood rot going on. From the outside appearances, it looks like a good job. They wrapped the curb. Biggest problem is this was on top of, oh, you see it over here, this basically Durarock was on top of it. They wrapped the Durarock on top of it very nicely, but they didn't, well, a couple of things. They didn't red guard it. They should have had some type of waterproofing membrane on the top of the whole curb, just in case there was a water issue. And then on top of that, as I said before, they didn't slope the tile. By virtue of sloping the tile, you would have negated a lot of water actually sitting on top of the curb between all those grout lines, therefore getting your curb saturated with water, which it is. I mean, literally all this Durarock is just wet. I mean, I could sit it like that and probably start dripping in a few minutes. On the outside, on the top and the inside, it's saturated with water. It's just, you see all the water down here. This is actually part of the shower pan water table, if you will. The shower pan is so saturated with water that this is the highest spot of the water, which means the lowest spot of the pan is going to be saturated as well. So obviously shower pan is no good, which really doesn't matter at this point. The funny thing is, sometimes, you know, you see things happening during your bathroom remodel, and one of the reasons I post these videos so that you can watch the process happen. When you wrap the curb, you need to put Durarock, hardy board, something on top of here. It doesn't really matter what it is, but you must waterproof your curb. After waterproofing your curb, set your tile at a slope, you know, 20-25 degree slope, and use as many grout lines, or I'm sorry, opposite, use as less grout lines as possible to mitigate any way that water could penetrate, which is why I like the contiguous curb top. It won't have any grout lines whatsoever. So, you know, it's just, there's a lot of damage here that is caused by just the poor workmanship of putting this in. And all this, you know, there's no leak, as I said before. When I take this out, if they wrap the shower pan, I'm assuming they did the corners nice and tight, and there's no issue with the pan per se. More the issue is the curb. The curb is just so soaked with water, and they're touching, all this water soaked materials touching each other. So water is just naturally taking the path of least resistance, which is a downhill slope, rotting this over years, and there's a problem. So there you go. Interesting development. Termites. Actually, they're active. Active termites in the wood. You see where the trails were at. Apparently they came in from the top, which is a little unusual. Usually they come in from the bottom. And then below the shower pan liner, these are ants. Fire ants, fire ant eggs, all alongside the shower pan liner. And of course, these boards are sopping wet. Crazy. That's a first. Yeah, more termite fun. Anyway, getting back to the shower. I wish any of you tile guys out there watching my videos, would you please stop cutting a big giant circle and caulking up under it. It doesn't make any sense. There's no way you could know that your caulking actually adhered, got stuck, and that there's no gap that water can get up under. I don't know why you're cutting a huge circle in this thing when all you have to do is cut a little X. Fold the 3 or the 4 flaps inside down, and then when you turn your barrel down, it'll push those 4 flaps into the downward position. And if you want to put some caulking up under there, great, but you've done something proactive to keep water from ever getting up under the pan around your drain. So it trips me out. I don't know why you'd cut a big giant hole there. It makes no sense. And then take the chance that the caulking did any good. So, moving on. Okay, this bathroom is finally finished. It took 6 days instead of 5 or 6 that I thought it would take. Part of that due to the fact that there were termites in that wall. I had to take out some of that wood that was infested, and then the pest control guy had to come. So anyway, obviously you can see what's going on. We got 2x2 tile on a mat that has a slope down to the drain. Fixed the cantilever drain that we had here. It was kind of set off to the side, so I managed to put a new drain cap in, not a cap, but you know, the whole flange and everything. So anyway, this is a 12 by 20, I think it's 12 by 20, something like that, tile that looks like travertine. It's actually not, it's a ceramic tile, and obviously it's staggered. Excuse me, I have the bull nose that I always wrap around, frame out the niche with, and then we have the same 2x2 tile on the back of the niche, and goes all the way up to the ceiling. The darkish color you see, the grout is still wet, but it will dry this bone color. So that's about it. This is the contiguous curb top. This is actually a piece of travertine-ish type stone. I like to do these almost always in a shower because obviously there's no grout lines. You remember how many grout lines there were before? There's a bunch of them. Not only that, but it's inclined inward toward the shower, so any runoff from the shower will go inside. Then in addition to that, this gets set first before this tile gets set on top of it, so that you have, instead of a horizontal grout line, you have a vertical grout line on both ends. So that kind of takes care of those issues. Wrap this tile around the window in order to make it kind of fit outside of the curb. And that's it. Didn't change the shower fixture, used the old one. Put all the scutch and everything back on, and the shower head, I don't know where it's at, but I have the neck on there ready to go. So this is it. And it's okay, you know, from what it was. It's a lot better, it's a lot less busier, and a lot less grout lines. And this is pretty typical renovation, except for the fact that there wasn't a tub here. This, as I said in the very beginning, this used to be a tub. Somebody came in, did the transition from a tub to a shower, but it was awful. And so now it's a lot better. And I'm out of here, on to another job.